Welcome to another episode of Ruff Talk VR, a weekly podcast with in-depth game reviews, exclusive developer interviews, and the latest MetaQuest and virtual reality news. We join our hosts, the father-son team of D. Scruffles and Stratus today, as they spend another episode breaking down and discussing the world of virtual reality.
Hey, welcome to this episode of Ruff Talk VR. Coming at you with another edition of VR news, and I guess you could say the holiday is officially over. I think I even said that to you last night when I sent you the run of show for today.
You did.
Which I have to say, I mean, we improve every week, every month. You know, we're always improving. I think this might be our most organized and well put together run of show yet. So
on paper, it is.
Yeah, we'll see
what
the execution.
Happens from paper to execution is a different story.
You know, it's not the run of show's fault if we get sidetracked. Like now, you know, the holiday's over. We have a stacked list of news and plenty of stuff in the world of Ruff Talk VR as well, too. We're all set with media passes for PAX East.
Yeah, locked in. Accommodations are set.
That's huge. So it's in May this year, not March.
Which means theoretically nicer weather. Could be just as cold. Boston, dude.
There was a handful of Ruff Talk VR listeners that happened to be there last year as well, too. So
yeah, that was pretty cool.
Be cool if we could do something like a podcast while there or something like that. That might be fun. But PAX East, locked in, set to go. That's huge. And this past week has seen, like I said, no shortage of news. But I think before we get to that, you want to kick off the show talking a little bit of
my favorite pastime.
Yeah, your favorite pastime in VR recently, Grim.
Recently, yeah. For a while.
Well, now we get to go in and
legit, it's live.
Engage with other players.
It's real.
We've been going into a lot of different size servers, just kind of like scoping out like what's the number in server amount that's like, you know, the best balance
comfortable.
We're not getting killed just going in the dome, trying to get some rocks, but you know, we also get some player interaction. We did one server that was like 30 plus people. Another that was like 7. We've had some funny moments so far. We were debating on killing someone last night. And then I think you even hit him twice.
Well, no, I killed him. But then
the second guy.
I
don't know. Maybe it was the same guy, but
the dude we were chasing.
Yeah.
Dude, we chased him like halfway across the.
Well, I think you hit him twice, right?
Yeah. No, because there was like 2 or 3 people sleeping in the dome. So the one dude, I took his oxygen tank, which just made me chuckle. Because I'm like, if he has nothing, how's he actually going to leave the dome? What are you going to do? You can't hope someone comes in and gives you a rock. And then the dude we were chasing, and you were in chat clearly saying that
we were thinking of killing him, and then we had decided to not kill him. So he saw us and got spooked and like threw a rock at us like that was going to do anything.
He threw his rock.
Yeah.
That's all he had.
And I was like,
he had arrows.
I was like,
no bow.
We're not here to kill you. I went to app chat to talk to him, and I was like, stop running. I just want to say hi. We're not here to kill you. But if you run, I'm going to have to kill you. We started to get real silly with it.
Dude, I shot him, I was shooting at him with the arrows, and that's when I discovered he has arrows because he reached into he grabbed an arrow and threw it on the ground. I'm like, you're just giving me another arrow to fucking kill you, dude.
I think at one point I'd even said, I was like, look, you're either with us or against us.
Yeah.
And if
we just wanted to talk, we legit weren't going to kill him.
I was like, I don't want to kill you, but you're either with us or against us. And if you're running, you're against us, and I have to kill you.
Yeah, no, I was kind of douchey last night. I won't lie. Like, nah, dude. You go beating on sleeping players and shit, robbing them.
Yeah, we even had a talk that like we're gonna try to not be toxic in there. I've been trying to force player interaction when I have the opportunity.
I feel like we're trying to rust it more than people are.
I think
that over, and that's
there's only been a handful of moments of killing people. Although I'm totally down to break into people's bases. That's part of the fun to me. We were even scoping out bases to break into.
Yeah, we're location scouting, server and location scouting.
Trying to find server size we like, and also, trying to find optimal.
Where it becomes quirky is we're East Coast, so we're more, for ping reasons, we're obviously going to look for East Coast servers. But I know someone in our Discord has I think it's on the West Coast. They already have a base location. Even posted their password, so you can go in there. And
I even saw someone posting a screenshot of the map. They're like listing their coordinates and stuff like that.
I don't want to say where they are because if you're in a Discord, you'll know. Like our Discord.
I'll say, I'm trying to not be too aggressive with killing players. And like, remember when we were scoping out bases to break into? Again, that is something that that's a pastime. I mean, you got to do it. It's a hobby. And somebody came out on their roof and I had a conversation with him. Well, he didn't talk back.
Short-winded.
He heard me. I was like, hey, look, we're just admiring your base.
I heard you banging on the wall.
We're just
admiring. Heard you.
We're just admiring your base.
You can hear people walking, dude.
I was like, I'll even admit, we're looking for a base to break into, but yours is very well put together. We don't want no trouble. Have a great day. Then he went back inside. I was like, this game's crazy.
What's funny is I haven't experienced any server crashes. I've only experienced Spoon forced crashes.
That happened to us last night. We were playing, and then like on each other's screen, we saw each other's player just running in place. I'm like, something's wrong, man. And then we went to rejoin, and obviously there was no server. But you were cracking me up because you're like, was it running good for you? I'm like, it was running great. I'm like, I had no problems. He goes, maybe you should lay off sometimes, Take a look, see how many people are in there before you hit Save
the
them for once
button.
a week. Save them for once a week.
Spoon's gangster, dude.
Spoon doesn't give a damn, man.
No, he wants his game to be good. And if there's something that he's done that's, going to fix something, and he's going to implement it. No doubt.
It's up to, it's climbing week by week. It's up to a 4.2 on the MetaQuest.
Yeah, it went up from, it peaked, it dropped down, I think, 3.8.
To up to 247 total ratings as well on the MetaQuest. And this is one of those games that I think the more people make videos, it's going to spread.
Well, it's that, and like, you have to get it, right? Meaning like the gameplay. So I know they're doing a tutorial. There is actually a posted tutorial that's kind of out
on YouTube.
Yeah. So you can get that, but there's going to be an in-game. But if your struggle is like figuring out the controls, it's going to click. And then when it does, it's just like, you don't even give it a second thought.
It's so fun, dude.
Yeah.
It is so fun.
I'm biased.
Well,
I loved it before it came out.
We loved it from concept.
And then when I got it in its earliest form, which, thank you, Spoonfed, for that. I loved it then. And I didn't even know what was coming. So, with every change, I just love it. But I'm 100% biased.
Yeah, we got to go in and start to engage.
I won't even pretend not to be. Did you see the Grim patch? Not game patch, but physical patch?
No.
Yeah. If you go to their Discord, you can win it.
Wow, that's a badass one. And
I held back, dude. I was like, what the fuck, man? It's like this fucking big.
And
like a 6-inch.
And we do got to start engaging with our community and playing with them and doing our dream base.
Well, the first thing was setting up I dead honest and like full disclosure. The first thing was it coming out and going live. I know, and you knew that servers were going to get all fucked up. Things were going to get mangy, and they did. And then they got fixed. So it's like a lot more stable now, after the run, and the ratings obviously reflect that. So now is when we can start really going, what server do we feel comfortable playing in?
And
I instantly wanted the private server, though. I'm like, how much is a private server?
When are we
going to implement this?
See, I like having randoms in there.
You can open up. Okay. So if you have a server, you can make it public.
Yeah, I get it.
But you can also lock it down.
Can we also talk about there's only one option available currently, and that's Mars survival mode.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of different options. Like it says map type, game mode type, survival.
Yeah.
So it's like, is there going to be other game modes besides survival? It says It says map type Mars. So is there going to be other Mars?
Imagine if there's a sandbox mode.
Yeah, like
a sandbox server.
Yeah.
Like no weapons.
No build restrictions. Like you have infinite resources.
Yeah.
Like who knows what's going to come. So, the foundation, and then there's like options to search in the servers between bi-weekly, monthly. as well as the weekly wipe frequency. So, but of course, all there is available now is weekly. But
and the other problem with like having a bunch of people is we're going to need more of a. I'd almost recommend, right? So we'll find a nice scouted location, but everybody should have their own base.
Correct. I like the idea of we have
a village,
a big, what I would call a guild hall, a main building for us all to congregate in, and then everybody has their own little homes.
Yeah, little huts.
Yeah, but we should have like a guild hall. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but everybody can't be part of the same base. You got 10 people, you're not all part of the same base. It's too many people.
I think you can have up to 5.
I think it's 5.
5. Okay. So
I've never tested it because I don't currently play with 5 people.
Well, if we posted a passcode in our Discord server, then people should be able to just come and go, right? They just might not be able to build on it.
Correct, because you got to give them access
to be able to build.
Yeah,
I think. Shit, we got to figure this out.
You could, like the dude who posted his access in our Discord. You know, granted, he has a lock on his cabinet. Mm-hmm. Truth be told, you go in there and probably take his base over.
But so we've been having a blast with Grim.
Not that I 100% wouldn't do that. Anybody in our Discord, but
we're going to start to engage with some community stuff soon. Yeah. Like I said, though, just as an update to that, we're just scouting. And did you have any tips for today? I mean, besides,
well, honestly, when I think if you go check out Beyond Frames, they're the ones who shared the tutorial that was made. So honestly, we went over some really good basic shit last night. You're real big on, get cloth and which you can get from the little mini pine trees.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, we had said last week that we were going to try to bring up to 5 tips each week for Grim. Yep. So that's why I use the word up to 5. I wouldn't want to commit on 5. I mean, a real basic one that I think will save some people a mysterious death of like, how the hell did I die? If you look on your wrist, you can see your vitals of your health, your food, and your water. Go to a dome. Doesn't have to be the main dome, any one of the domes.
Probably better off not at the main dome.
And depending on the amount of players in the server, yeah. And grab as many mushrooms as you can. Shrooms up. They heal. I mean,
don't eat raw meat.
Don't eat raw meat. Yes, correct.
That seems like a no-brainer.
But mushrooms give you a little bit of food and a little bit of water. So it takes a lot of them to restore. But there's a lot of mushrooms available. So stock up.
There's tons. And you can put them in your belt on groups of 5, if you want.
And there's some resources that you can really only get in the domes. It seems like I've yet to find cloth outside of the domes. Same with shrooms. You don't find those out.
You can, but you have to grind it down because, like in the main dome, there's the machine that you can put materials in and then turn materials.
Sometimes cloth comes out of that. But you're not going to find some little ass tree that has cloth by grabbing it.
Not on Mars.
But besides, the cloth and mushrooms and wild animals to kill for meat, you can get a lot of stone. You can get a lot of wood. So you can stock up.
If you could build your base in the dome, it's sustainable.
Yeah, but outside the dome, there's a lot of resources, like I said, besides mushrooms and cloth.
Plus there's drops.
So don't feel like you have to go to the domes to get everything. Like, example, we met up in the East Dome yesterday.
There's plenty of stone and logs outside the dome, but your oxygen's gonna get depleted.
Yes. Also,
you will die.
Yeah, I guess as an extremely basic tip, if you open up your menu with your left controller, you'll see an oxygen tank on your user avatar inventory screen, and you will see that oxygen tank have a seconds timer on it going down every second. So when you're outside the dome, you're on Mars, you have oxygen tanks. I mean, my man, your oxygen tank is going down. Outside each dome, though, there is a refill station that you step on the platform for it, and it refills refills your oxygen tank. So make sure to do that. Don't sit outside forever.
No, and there's also refill stations scattered about the map. If you look at point of interest on the map, 100%. Plus, they got the broken dome.
So basic tips for me today. I didn't come in, like I said, with 5 or anything like that, but shroomies, that's my lesson of the day.
Shrooms are good. Don't eat raw meat. which is just funny that it has to be said. But it's
don't
just
feel like you have to go to the dome for every resources.
No.
Again,
Matter of fact, I mean, if you're
playing in a heavily populated base, you're better. Heavily populated server. You're better to not always find yourself in the dome. You're going to get killed.
You will find better loot outside the dome than you'll ever find inside the dome.
But inside the dome, it's readily available. Everything.
Like you go to all the different metal barrels and bust those open, and the crates that'll be around. You have a good likelihood of finding a firearm. I've not ever found a firearm inside, but inside the center dome, there's also, I don't even want to like really get too deep into it, but there's the actual game of what you see at face value. And then there's a bunch of other shit going on of like putting breakers into electrical panels to open up doors, to get keys to other access areas on the map. And if you go in the military tunnel, there's numerous doors that are going to require keys to get through, but it's all risk and reward at that point, because now you're dealing with vicious NPCs as well as, but I promise you, dude, you're going to come out of there with fucking rocket launchers, dude.
And it's hard to hit that point of exploring that side of the game until, in my opinion, you have a base with some resources in it.
Yeah, if I were a newbie, I would just focus on my first week on just resourcing and
practice
base building
bases.
Resource base building.
Probably going to get destroyed. That's fine. Just build a new one.
Yeah, it's like you legit can start building a base within 10 minutes, and like at least a stone one. And then put enough resources in there, throw your sleeping bag down, your cabinet, throw your shit in there to maintain it. And I love that it'll tell you, like, for the resources that it requires to maintain your base, how many days. Last time we went deep, it was like, what?
Well, it
was past the white point.
You should explain that in case, like, when you build a base, it's not that it stays up forever. Like we thought our first time we ever built this massive.
We kept building all these big bases, and they'd be gone in an hour.
Bigger than my real life house. You know what I mean? Like just massive. But you need to put in your resource storage container in your base. You need to fill it.
Yeah, which is not like a chest. So like a storage chest. Putting resources in there. No, it's actually your cabinet.
And like you said, it gives you a visual indicator, says how long you have left with what's currently in there. Make sure to stock it up. Otherwise, you're going to build a base and then log off for 2 hours and come back on and be like, where the fuck's my base?
What did I do wrong?
And then when you build a base, make sure to put down a sleeping bag. Because that sleeping bag, if you die, you come back to where your sleeping bag is.
Dude, I'll throw sleeping bags on if I'm walking real far and I get that kind of like, I don't know. I'll build a sleeping bag and just put it on the ground.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
Because then if you die, you're back to where you were instead of way far away.
I want a controlled respawn versus I don't know where
if you don't have a sleeping bag, they just spawn you
wherever.
Fuck knows where.
I don't know the rhyme or reason to the respawn. I know that I'm usually never in the same spot twice.
And there is a map. If you open up the menu with your left controller and you look in the top right, you'll see a little map looking button. Click that and a map comes up, and it's very well formatted with coordinates as well. We communicate via coordinates all the time. Like, hey, right now I'm on C6. All right, I'm on
like a chessboard.
Yeah, it's great. So that's
the map's been a game changer.
Yeah, we
had to do it old school.
Overall, on the scheme of things, that's a newer addition to Grim and a huge quality of life improvement in my opinion.
Especially for a new player. What else, where it gets really quirky, this is a good newbie tip. So you're going to open your map and you're going to see the dome. Obviously, you're going to go there. Ooh, this is cool. Look at the bear. But you're going to see other points of interest and you're going to try to go there. If you try to go to some points of interest and you don't have a spacesuit, which you will find,
just by looting different,
you will experience radiation poisoning,
and you will die.
You will hear a terrible sound, and you won't realize what's happening. So hopefully, at this point, you've already turned your character around and have run for the hills. But if you don't, you're as good as fucking dead. So you have to have, before you even want to explore those. And this is why I say just focus on base building. But and I guarantee you're going to find a suit, and then at that point, you can also build one. You'll be more than equipped, ready to go to these points of interest, which do have cool shit. They've got one you can buy, like pretty much anything you need, want, doesn't matter. It's there. I dare you to shoot an NPC when you get there. You'll get murked on sight. They're the ones that are standing there like solid. It's just a great experience. But once it clicks, it clicks.
Yeah, and one last one, then we'll move away too. Because this is something I did. I remember my first time playing Grim. I was making my character squat to pick up every mushroom, everything on the ground. You can just look at it with your hand, and you'll see that little circle indicator, and then you can grab it from there.
I'm pretty sure Spoon's got it now, so you just look at it, and it dude, there's still a lot of shit I squat to do when I'm like mining rock and shit.
Some of the wood piles outside of the dome, just out in the field of Mars, those ones I have much more success with by squatting and hatcheting them. But great times with Grim. Great to see it at 4.2, and I think it's only up from here as Spoon pumps out.
Here's
endless
the thing.
Updates.
It can only get better.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
And I will say too, got to plug it. We won't spend the most time on this one, but it's not a week if we don't mention it. April 4th, 2025, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we have our second annual Ruff Talk VR Gaming Showcase. For you listeners, you fans of VR, stay tuned. It's going to be an even better showcase than last year. And if you're a developer studio and you're interested in participating, check out the link in our show notes, our episode description, and you get a chance to participate in history. No, maybe not history, but our second annual showcase at the very least. And
golly,
this one actually wasn't even on our list of things to talk
excited.
about. But I got to bring it up.
I'm gonna talk like that the rest of the show.
A VR game developer, Blair Renaud. I apologize on any pronunciation mistakes, as I so often do. He had put out a tweet last week, kind of ranting a bit about the current state of the industry. He talks a lot about how much he loves VR, but does point out some things of like Quest app sales down 27%. Renaud. Yeah, I'm not good at pronunciation of last names that I've never heard. I'll be honest with you. It's a weak point. Renaud. I apologize, Blair. Trying to give you credit on it though. But Palmer Luckey did reply to the tweet saying, "Wait till you see what I'm announcing in a few weeks, and if you think I'm still out of the game." So let's see what's coming from Palmer Luckey in a couple weeks.
Could it be SUV-sized drones you can fly around your neighborhood?
Well, that
have been being tested all through like states.
Last summer, I think it was like June, July, something like that. He announced I believe it was a headset for the military. Wasn't a consumer one. So that tweet though sounds like it's something made for like the me's and you's of the world,
I hope so.
Palmer Luckey coming back into consumer VR would be so freaking big. So now we'll go on to their actual listed news on our, like I said, our well put together.
Did you bring up the showcase?
I did bring up the showcase.
Right.
I can bring up the showcase again if you want. April 4th, 2025.
I might have forgotten.
1 p.m. Eastern time. So on to the news. This is a cool one because love the studio, love the game even more. Into the Radius 2 has made, and remember, this is Into the Radius 2 in early access. Some people kind of like freaked out about the state it was in. We had the team on for an interview, and like I love their mentality of like, people were looking forward to the sequel. For the diehards, let's just get it in their hands ASAP. I think not every consumer that played it knew how early access it was.
Yeah.
We went into it. We had a great time, but there were bugs. There were like some issues. It's early access, limited content. Even with that, though, it shows so much potential, and proving that it's already hit nearly $3 million in revenue, which is pretty good in my opinion for an early access game only on PC VR in like extremely earliest of access.
I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, how are you going to say that's a bad number?
Right.
I mean, did it cost $3 million to make?
Probably not yet. Right? I mean, in this early access state.
So, I mean, I'd like to think on a spreadsheet that shows some positive cash flow here.
I always like when sometimes they say the dollar amount and sometimes they say the sales copy amount. Because like I hear 3 million revenue, I go, well, I wonder how many like game sales that is.
More or less divide it.
Following up on that, though, they also came out that Into the Radius 1 has sold over 800,000 copies across all platforms. It recently came out on PlayStation VR 2, as well, published by Fast Travel. So 800,000 copies. How many millions is that?
Well, how much is the game?
It varies depending on time of day,
Average.
sales. Let me look at how much Into the Radius is right now.
I mean, if you look at the lowest average, right? It shouldn't be that hard to figure out.
It pulled up Into the Radius too.
Not that we need to go digging into some companies.
$30.
$30 freaking dollars.
Yep.
It's $29.99.
Yep.
And you said 800,000.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think my shit would go that high.
Almost 24 million.
Yeah. Just under.
But keep in mind then, Meta, Sony, everyone takes 30%. So you lose a 30 on that right there.
So 15 mil.
And then if they had any cut with publishers, like example, Fast Travel published it on PlayStation VR 2. I think that was their only platform that had a publisher that wasn't them. But there's going to be a publisher cut. And then you have taxes. So they didn't walk away with 23 million by any means, but it's fair to say Into the Radius 1 looks like it sold
10
good.
mil.
It sold good, right?
Okay. So they're doing
and Into the Radius 2 on only one platform and extremely of earliest of access with mixed initial launches is already at 3 mil. CM Games has a good formula with Into the Radius.
Well, and now that we're getting
game.
a glimpse at their sales and money's being made, it's all positive.
Mm-hmm.
Again, no one's going to say they spent $10 million on their first game.
And look, there's operating costs, there's employee costs.
Don't care.
If they have a physical studio,
$10 million? No.
that seems like a good nut for a VR game.
Even if it was $4 million,
Yeah,
it still puts them ahead by
props to them on
7
that.
or 8. No, that's wicked huge. So with the
one's cool.
With the Super Bowl around the corner, and Meta wanted a piece of that pie, which we saw them advertising
Holy shit, it is around the corner.
in the Tyson fight. So it's of no surprise that we're going to see a commercial being dropped from Meta, this time with the Ray-Ban glasses, and they are employing Chris Pratt and Chris Helmsworth. I think they're really digging deep on Chris. And what makes it cooler, it's not going to be like a joint commercial. They're each going to have their own individual showing, and it's going to be in the best comedic style possible. I'm sure it's not going to be a serious take on, hey, here are the glasses. No, they're going to take full advantage of these characters and make us laugh and get more people looking at these Meta glasses.
2 Super Bowl ads is so freaking expensive.
It's like $1 million a second. So
1 Super Bowl ad's a lot. 2?
you figure it's going to be at least 30 seconds a piece.
Well, I think that kind of speaks to how much
60 mil.
How much the Ray-Bans have overperformed expectations. Didn't you say that somebody in real life just got one and they fucking love him?
Yeah, dude who owns like smokehouse per se, like a restaurant thing, does it on our campus. Not the type of person you'd think would have a pair of Ray-Ban glasses, but he got a pair for Christmas and he like wears them every day and couldn't be freaking happier. He's like, oh my God. Like, I mean, didn't really know the full advantages of all the technology that exists in the glasses, other than I know it takes pictures and videos.
Like all the AI stuff
Correct.
and things like that.
So being able to talk to it, and you know what I've discovered? A lot of older people, like 70s, aren't shy with talking into a fucking phone to make AI do shit.
Dude, I think that there's so many people that have
Like,
waited their whole
moly,
life
man.
for this technology. So yeah, think of it. You're
Like
70.
gangsters with it. Like, younger people are more like, you barely ever hear them asking AI shit.
Dude, if you're 70, to be honest with you, we're behind expectations. Like we should have, like, it should be Jetsons, and it's not. So like the fact that it's not, and they're 70, they've been waiting their whole life.
It's pretty close.
They've been waiting their whole life for this shit. They see it starting to come. They're like, fuck yeah, I don't give a shit. Hands free, walking down the street, talking,
Oh yeah, even Surrey, dude.
Mm-hmm.
One of my employees will, hey Surrey. Well, I'm like, isn't that a private thing? Like you just do that out in the open like that.
I think that things look so similar to
Add a note
to how they did technologically. I mean, that's crazy to say because we have phones and everything like that. But if you were to talk to somebody in like 1950, like what do you think 2025, almost 2030 is going to look like? And
No, you'd have to go back farther.
Their futuristic expectation of what 2030 would look like, in my opinion, would be so much more advanced than like, no, we're, you know, things
I'd go back to the 30s.
Yeah, whatever.
Only
whatever
because in the if you look at the 50s, they had like a really like futuristic spaceship looking cars everywhere. You look at the 57 Chevy.
Correct.
Like,
So imagine what they would think 2030 would look like. They'd be like, dude, you guys are going to be in fucking Mars by now, right? Like the fact that we'd be like, nah, we got sunglasses that record video is like the cutting edge tech. They'd be like, what? You're supposed to be so much farther than that. Dude. So that's why I think that's why I think people in their 70s are just down for it, because they're like, come on, man, where's it been?
When the flip phone first came out, like the first flip phone, I ended up getting one for company reasons. And I'm outside chilling at one of the entrances, and this fucking old man comes up to me and he's like, hey, you into Star Trek? And I'm like, it gave me that creepy vibe. I'm like, yeah, I like the original, original Star Trek's cool. And he's like, you got that new phone? And I'm like, I do. And he goes, take it out. And I'm like, okay, take it out.
He punches you in the mouth, runs away with it.
Hey, give me that fucking phone. And he's like, how do you open it? And I'm like, fucking flip phone, man. I fucking clink, open the thing up. And he goes, you remember the little communicators in Star Trek? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, what are you holding? And it like all hit me at once. Like, I'm like, even though right now this thing's only going to text and make phone calls.
It's a wireless communication
I'm
device.
like, wait a minute. This is going to go so deeper. And then the man just walked off. I swear to God, dude, I was like, holy shit. That dude just subtly dropped like this life-changing wisdom on me. Because I'm thinking of Star Trek shit. Like, that's more than just a little communicator. It can find you. What the fuck? We got Find My Phone now.
Yeah, smartphones are probably one of the biggest innovations of my personal lifetime. When you look at the fact that it takes videos, pictures, GPS.
Dude, it orders food.
You can
right
text,
to your house,
call,
hotel,
watch videos, play games.
You can rent car. Dude,
it is a truly all-in-one device in your pocket.
You can have something pick you up at your fucking house.
Yeah,
bring you to
insane.
An airport, pick you up somewhere else, bring you to a rented house, food come to you. Oh my God, dude.
I think a lot
of
people criticisms about our modern technological state and like the way people are glued to phones and stuff. I think that mostly extends to a criticism of social media. I think that that's less about like how amazing the technology of a phone is. It's like the individual usages of it with like things like social media causes that type of behavior. When you want to talk about like how groundbreaking of a tech a smartphone is, it's like insane. What happens from there? People want to whack off watching porn all day or scrolling through Facebook and Instagram. Ooh. That's too funny though. So we ended up down a different path. But the Ray-Bans, they're a breakthrough product. Like people love them. Everyone that I've heard use them is obsessed with them.
I look forward to these funny commercials.
Yeah, let's see.
Because they're spending a fucking fortune for them. So good for them.
Chris Pratt and Chris Hemsworth both making bank, I'm sure, off of these. Who knows Meta's marketing
They're
budget.
doing it for a free pair of glasses. Nothing more, nothing less. Like Matthew McConaughey. For
not even transparent
car commercials.
Not even transparent.
All right. Another car from yet. I got it.
So following into glasses talk. In fact, our whole like first half before Patreon at this point going forward, there's a lot of tech shit going here, like hardware side. Dun 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 dun. And then we got some gaming stuff after. So kind of matching your predictions, I had said that I expected to see Orion-esque Orion AR glasses in hands by 2030. And you were like, after Connect, you were like, get the fuck out of here. It's going to be before 2030. And I'm like, no, 2030 is the timeline that they've said. And kind of looking like you might be right, because Meta is reportedly going to begin offering Orion dev kits to developers next year. And the rumor is that some developers already have them.
Yeah.
But they're going to have like a full dev kit program next year. Yeah. And then, according to Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, they're going to be targeting a 2027 launch. And it's important to say the glasses
I feel very vindicated.
The glasses shown on stage at Connect, Orion, those glasses shown on stage at Connect will not be coming out as a consumer product.
No, that's just test shit.
They said that is a glimpse into the future.
People wouldn't wear that shit anyways.
The technology, according to Meta, used in Orion, the cost to manufacture the parts, everything, is about $10,000 to produce one Orion glasses. They're like, that's not going to be what comes out in 2027.
They're going to cost over.
But there is going to be
$1,000.
some sort of AR glasses that's going to come out in 2027 is what they're targeting. Dude, 2027 is 2 years away. That's an aggressive timeline. That's going to come in no time.
Like that's nothing.
Dude.
I knew it was coming before 2030.
And think of how many games.
There's no way you're going to flex it at Connect in 24 and be like, in 5 years from now, you get this thing that already works.
Think of how many mixed reality experiences and games can just port almost instantly right over to Orion.
It's going to make airplane travel a lot more fun.
Fuck yeah. So that's huge. So that's cool.
And
I'm happy you're more right as well.
Yeah. I didn't want to be fucking
2030.
Yeah. That's just
5 years.
Don't show me something that's 5 years out. I don't believe it. I believe it's coming quicker.
Wait till
I wouldn't be shocked if it came out at the end of 26.
Wait till the first time we're in a new country or something like that, and we don't know where we're going, and we turn on the Maps app, and it's fucking live arrows,
auto translate, everything.
I'm so excited. Sorry to,
regardless of where you
go aggressive with the F-bombs there, but when it comes to AR glasses, I get excited.
I didn't even hear it.
That's because we're,
Did you really?
Yeah, I was dropping them.
Isn't it bad when you're numb to it?
So integrated in our daily flow, but you
want to New Englanders will drop F-bombs in church.
Well, it's funny. Your next one is even more glasses talk.
Hey, spoiler. Mega spoiler. So since if you're going to do freaking Ray-Bans, why not double down? This also comes from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman.
He came out with some bombs last week between AR glasses, Ray-Bans.
So we can expect later this year Oakleys being more geared for the athletic aspect, like biking or being an absolute meathead and just want to look fucking cool.
Oakleys that are like the Ray-Bans, like the smart glasses.
Yeah, it's going to be smart glasses, but it'll have the camera in the center instead of the side.
That actually... for skiing, stuff like that.
Yeah, man.
That makes sense.
Well, skiing, depending on the time of year, you could do it. Other than that, you still want your goggles.
But you get my point for like action shots of like sports.
I like the center camera better for filming than the side camera. As dumb as that sounds, I haven't experienced the center camera.
Dana White's on the board of Meta. Throw these on the referees in the UFC.
I don't want to watch some grown man stare at ringside titties for
find out. Yeah, you'll be finding out
of a 25 minute.
You'll be finding out real fast that the referee's not always watching the action.
He's always staring at that fighter's junk, dude. What's going on with that guy? Watch the fight.
Oh man,
no, you gotta be careful with that shit. But the center camera Oakley's coming this year. I guess ultimately when we were talking about it earlier, you're like, well, they're kind of the same company anyways.
Well, they're both owned by, what's it called? Luxottica.
Yeah.
There's another part to that name too, but I'll just say Luxottica.
It sounds sexier.
The word on the street was that Meta had purchased a share into the company because they wanted to divvy away from the Ray-Ban partnership. So Meta said, all right, boom, I'll buy part of you. And
we'll keep making.
And now we'll go to the other brands you own too.
No, it's good for, I think the cycling aspect for sure.
I think Ray-Bans are still much more casual design.
Because in the early days of Oakley's, like only certain people would.
I don't want to walk down the street wearing Oakleys. I'll be honest.
But they had other styles. It just sounds like they're not going to do those. It's going to be more of that
the classic Oakley look,
Randy Macho Man shit.
Which again, for specific use cases, are going to be nice. But I like the Ray-Ban style. And remember, they're supposed to come out with soon a smart glasses version that has an on-screen HUD. So we should see more details about that soon too. That's supposed to cost over $1,000.
I already want those really bad.
Yeah, the word is that those are going to be around $1,000, a little bit more. So
get ready for a fat Orion price tag is all I'm going to say.
What do you think? $3,000?
No, I think it'll be under 3. On the highest
15?
end. On the highest
1,500?
No, I'm thinking for full blown
$2,000.
$24.99.
$24.99. I could see. I wouldn't be surprised to see
For all
3K,
the bells and whistles,
3,500
ear hole massagers and whatever,
I wouldn't be surprised to see them go Vision Pro pricing. And the thing is, like,
it's going to really come down to like how well it works and how much is going to be available for it to do.
Dude, we are so close to AR glasses.
Mm-hmm.
But smart glasses are here with Ray-Bans and now soon Oakleys. And we talked about it earlier. Love my Ray-Bans.
You want to get crazier?
What's that?
So think like 20, 30 years from now, people are going to be looking back like it was the cordless phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember those fucking glasses that people would buy that like...
Yeah, all that was in there was a
all
camera.
They were impressed was like fucking take me to places.
Yes, 100%. We are in the infancy of this tech.
Holograms is where I have in my little child mind when I was a kid, I've only seen one video game really pull off a decent hologram video game. Like it was stand up. That fucking thing's amazing. Actually, there's one for sale on Facebook Marketplace for a couple of grand.
Well, that's kind of how Tilt 5 is too. Tilt 5 does the AR projection. We've still yet to try Tilt 5.
When you can put something on and this is all right, like full, like this is how I've always envisioned it. I'm not going to watch TV. TV's going to play out in front of me in my living room. Maybe it's a special mat you have for the early development. Don't care. It'll fit in your space. But your space is going to become that TV environment. You can get up and walk around it, 360 it, whatever, look behind the characters they're talking. That's kind of how I believe like entertainment will be in the
AR is going AR glasses like Orion or Orion-esque AR glasses. It's not going to be a deviceless hologram, meaning like a hologram that just projects out of a projector. But by wearing those glasses, theoretically, you would be able to voice video call someone and have a projection of them.
You could have a 3D hologram.
Correct. Yeah. Like I said, you're going to need to wear the glasses to do it. It's not the dream of hologram projections yet.
Not yet.
Which is like glassesless. But that type of use cases is 100% possible with AR glasses.
Save me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope.
Exciting times ahead for sure. So, continuing on the hardware side.
Oh, dude, I can't wait. I want those Oakleys, even though I'm not.
The Ray-Bans will be my casual day-to-day ones.
Yeah, but wait until they come out with other styles.
Yeah, no, it's cool to see that it's growing. And again, like it's a sleeper product. Everyone that I've heard try them, loves them. They've reportedly oversold, overperformed. So
I mean, if you can
great innovation there.
If you can afford the money to drop anyways on what would have been over $100 and something for a pair of sunglasses or whatever, then you might as well just pay the extra $100.
I wish I remembered her name to give proper props, but at Connect we did get to talk with somebody who was pretty high up on, I think it was the engineering team of the Ray-Ban glasses, and she was so good in the demo and informative and like wanted to know how we used them and like picked our brain more than we picked hers. When I saw that, like that's the brains leading the project, I was like, no wonder it's such a damn good product. They actually like really care about it.
Dude, every person on that campus, for whatever it was that their function in life was, they were pretty damn enthusiastic about it and definitely knowledgeable about it. Even the person who was handing out t-shirts in that shop knew, because they had like a bunch of different styles of pattern, different sizes, and they're like, nope, we're out of this size, but if you come back tomorrow, we'll have this size.
I'll remember you.
Well, yeah, man. I was like, holy crap.
I hope we get to go
everybody there is like, their hiring process must be insane.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
I'm really hopeful that VR and people like me and you have as much of a presence next year as there was this past year, because it was such a good time. I know. I just, until I'm there, I'm not going to, I can't,
Didn't you get the Zuckerberg invite?
Handwritten note. Hey, I'll put it.
Handwritten.
I got to say it once a year, Jiu-Jitsu brown belt, Zuck. If you ever wants to train.
He's got
some tricks.
You just pay someone to do it.
I know. It was funny. The security people that were at the fireside chat we did with Mark Rabkin at Connect, they were all wearing Jiu-Jitsu shirts. I was like, oh, those are probably Zuckerberg's training partners. I can flew them in from Hawaii and shit. But continuing on the hardware news, this one was unexpected. Midweek, it came out that Google had acquired part of HTC Vive's engineering team and part of a $250 million deal to work on Android XR. And it's unclear if they're going to be working on hardware, on software, what exactly the team's going to do, but that's a huge investment to put towards Android XR. And this isn't the first time Google's kind of grabbed from HTC. Back in 2017, Google acquired some of HTC's team to work on mobile devices that later started to work on the Pixel phones. So it seems like there's already a pretty cordial relationship between Google and HTC, whereas HTC is at the very least pretty willing to sell their shit off to Google. But I mean,
what are we willing to give up?
Yeah, that's a pretty
How much
big.
can we get for it?
That's a pretty big purchase. $250 million to take some of the engineering team.
Yeah, dude.
So it seems like Google's pretty fucking serious for whatever reason, whatever their motivating factor. They're pretty serious about
I think they're
XR right now.
I think they're always serious, but
We're always skeptical.
I don't know what they're
long term.
It reminds me of a kid with a really short attention span. You know, like we'll open the box of Legos and then move on to the next fucking toy.
Alchemy Labs is the shining example of being kept in with Google. Dude, Google launched Google Stadia.
I repressed that like a bad childhood memory.
Google, and they came out with Google Stadia. Honestly, what it was a very well-received cloud gaming device. They purchased whole gaming studios to make in-house games for it. Never came out with one game and killed the platform. You can't even use the cloud gaming in it anymore. You have a controller. You have a Bluetooth controller. And like it was a good product. Like people liked it. It had a lot of potential. They didn't kill it because it was like not well received. They just killed it to fucking kill it. Google's nuts.
I'm sure that's somebody's job there. They call him Kill Guy.
Like I can't explain it. So,
dude, did you get a voicemail from the Kill Guy?
Even though Google's throwing $250 million to buy engineering teams,
1313 and see Mr. Davison, please.
We've seen them invest in whole game studios. Never come out with a game.
It's become a rolling joke of mine.
There's a website
sadly
called
at the expense of people's
killedbygoogle.com. You know, it's nuts. I'm pretty sure that's the URL. So I'm still skeptical of how much, if in 5 years we're going to be talking about Google and VR.
Take it like a survivor. Just take it day by day.
They get it. As of right now, it looks like that they're taking Android XR very seriously. There's multiple Android XR devices through multiple manufacturers slated. I mean, that's a big purchase from the HTC team. Like, let's see what happens these next couple of years. But as of now, I think my money's still on Meta.
I mean, if you're looking years out, yeah, they're going to have to shift. Sorry. It's just the way it is.
So
in more cool tech news, as you stated earlier, this is pretty tech heavy on the front end of the burner. But Meta is going to be experimenting with home theater to its Quest. I just hate the name. The Quest Horizon operating system, which will include the third-party headsets.
They had originally, when they killed Oculus's name and changed it to Meta, said that
it was going to live forever
through the software.
Forever.
It's supposed to be Oculus OS.
Forever to Meta is 2 years.
Oculus OS. Horizon.
So be careful if you ever hear the words for dude. You can work here forever.
Horizon kind of sounds topical, like it's like a very 2024, 2025. In a couple of years, that's going to sound very outdated. It's not a timeless name like Oculus.
I think of the Horizon app. Anytime I hear Horizon,
I think of
Horizon Worlds.
I also think of Horizon Zero Dawn. Like it's just a weird name. I liked Oculus. It should be Oculus OS.
I think we should get a petition to bring back Oculus.
What's cool is I think you had already said this, but that it's going to come that they're planning on bringing the home theater environment that they're working on to
third party,
first party, them and third party ones.
I did mention it.
So yeah, they're working on a whole home environment. That's cool. That's going to
be cool. We'll see.
Sorry, they're working on
back. The whole point of this was to just really dump on the fact that the word Oculus is gone forever.
that was
when it was supposed to be the Oculus operating system, correct?
But
that was the deal. That was the bargaining agreement
that was going to live in
we as the consumers signed up for.
No, I never even accepted the deal to change the name, but I don't have that type of power. They do what they want.
Very disappointed.
But a home theater environment is pretty cool because when you join parties, like if I call you while I'm still in my home screen, my home environment, you jump into my home environment. It's cool. I see you in my fucking home if I'm in pass through, you know. But if it was a home theater, we could watch something on that screen together.
And if it's a legit, decent environment that you're going to go into, then yeah, fuck yeah.
Which again, you can do this technology right now with like an app like Big Screen.
Big Screen, baby.
I'm a big fan of Big Screen.
It works.
Last year we reviewed the showcase how many times
in
together?
A theater.
In Big Screen.
Dude, that was pretty badass.
Yeah, definitely got to do that again this year. That was fun. I think we watched that thing 20 times. So,
minimum. That was just to calm 2% of the nerves.
I talked about this before. Sweat from here, from elbow to
sweat
to
from
hip
toe to toe.
So
it was gross.
As always, though, we have hit the point in the show for our Patreon shout out. A little love. A little love for our Patreon supporters on our on-air shout out tier. So, huge thank you to Asim, Amelia, Carson, Earth Witness, Aspire Mike, Jake, Crispy, and Shoes. So, thank you all for your continued support. You can join that list of Patreon supporters, people who help keep the lights afloat, help us able to do great events like PAX East and such like that. You can join, though, that lovely group of people by visiting the link in our show notes, where you'll also find a link for our Discord server, where you can join a great and passionate group of VR fans and Ruff Talk VR listeners, engage in some awesome, obviously, VR discussion, but also food discussion, pet pictures, life adventures, off top, flat screen gaming.
There's weekly events.
There's game meetups, a whole bunch of Resonite stuff. Amelia's crushing it.
You want a Resonite tour? That's it. That's your official, like, when you sign up for Resonite now, when you go in there, Amelia's there, and you go up to her and you say, "Hey, I'm new." She goes, "All right, what are you looking to do?"
We got Shoes crushing
Plan it out.
Got Shoes crushing it with giveaways, running all that.
And that's a joke. I don't want anybody to go on the Resonate and be like, "Dude, I went to the loading screen. Amelia was not there waiting for me."
You know, it's funny. You'd think that would be obvious sarcasm, but sometimes you'd be surprised. We also got Shoes doing a great job with the giveaways. So again, huge props to our moderators, our Patreon members, everyone that participates in our Discord. You can join the Discord, join the Patreon by visiting the link in our show notes. And while you're there, why don't you just, subscribe, rate us 5 stars. If you're on YouTube, like it, subscribe. Oh, you can also, instead of going via Patreon, we also offer our membership tiers for Patreon through YouTube instead, if you want to just go straight through YouTube.
So we still have Buy Me Coffee, though, right?
Yes, we talked about this the other week.
Does that include, yes. So that got me thinking, though, does that include membership tiers?
Buy Me a Coffee doesn't work like that.
No?
Buy Me a Coffee, you can only donate.
That's literally the cardboard sign at the intersection.
Yeah. That's why we went away from but it still exists.
Because we wanted to be able to have something.
Instead of asking people for money, I like to give something in exchange instead of just being like, give me. It was that or an OnlyFans. So we went with the Patreon instead of showing the old Naples. So
help me keep the electricity on.
So thank you all for your continued support. And let's get back to the news. A little behind the scenes, I guess sometimes we take a little bathroom break. In today's fashion, coffee refill in between Patreon and the news. Come on, man. We've been going almost an hour. We need some more caffeine.
Need some beverage.
Got to keep, it's like a well-oiled machine. You got to keep the fuel going.
Need substance.
So back to the news. Let me double check who left off. I think that you actually left off with the home theater environment. So
I did.
This is an exciting one. Into Black, which I do have to issue a correction on right off the top, and this is my fault in the notes. I don't know how it happened, making just way too many notes in the award show. I had wrote down Into the Black instead of Into Black. Instead of Into Black, a game that we
did. You get a correction email?
No, but I mean, I feel bad about it. When I was listening back to it and I hear Into the Black, I was like, this is so embarrassing. Because it's a phenomenal game. It won our co-op game of the year. It just, we famously got on record before with it's happened with other games.
Elven table tennis.
We called things the wrong name. One time, kind of becomes a running thing in between us, and then it happens more frequently. So apologies there. Into Black, though, the winner of our co-op game of the year, a game that we're still going into so much. We're like little cockroaches in there. They've added a good handful of updates and new content since launch, and they have confirmed a PlayStation VR 2 port is in the works, is planned at the very least. Maybe it's not in the works yet, but it's planned. And in their latest update, they also brought new localizations, so new languages to the platform. So the game's now available in Italian, Spanish, German, French, Japanese, and Korean.
It's a Mario.
So now they can enjoy it in more.
I just hope they keep expanding on it. They got a really good, what they've got, I think it's really freaking good.
Well, they've already put out new content updates since launch, so I got a good feeling the binary mailman,
sooner or later you're gonna, I mean, I like how, like, although there's a lot of stuff to unlock, they limit how much things you can stack. So it might be, okay, three things, not, I remember all 10 that you unlocked.
At first I was thinking you could.
No.
Well, the thing is your things level up. So like your pistol or your mining laser,
whatever
it levels up. And the more it levels up, the more attachments you do get to use on it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if it's not something you use a bunch, like I'm not always, you use the platformer much more than me. So yours is probably a higher level. My platformer, I think, is probably level 1, level 2.
No, I use it all the time.
So I
even use it if I'm falling.
Yeah, you love
sometimes
the
I can look out.
I just it slips my mind. But that is a game changing one. I got the jetpack now. Into Black is so freaking.
Yeah, I don't have the jetpack. I don't have. I have the ability for it, but I need the minerals. I need the ore. I need the stuff, dude.
We got to go mining. The problem is that there's just so many great games. I mean, we even did some Dragon Fist VR Kung Fu last night.
Mm-hmm.
We did our current duo. You always play as Clayton. For a while, I forget his name.
Hughes.
But I was playing as the first dude on the menu selection.
That's how memorable he is.
But at this point, recently, I've been playing as Timothy, Mr. Timothy, because he's in the boxing arena with Clayton. So to me, it like makes sense that they're together. And now I'm laughing because I'm like, dude, these two British dudes just show up to Japan and are just laying smackdown across the country.
Rolled.
Last night might have been our best night ever playing.
I think so.
Dragon Fist. We went in and like neither of us went down one time.
Looked like a bad robbery.
We just went out there and just laid waste. So that was fun. But Into Black, eventually will come.
Into the Black?
It's planned Into Black. They've confirmed PlayStation VR 2 plans. Those are in the works. Those are at least planned.
I like Into the Black.
And more language support in the game as well. So excited for what else might come from the binary mill. But they did a great job with it.
We'll have a nice glimpse of their 1-year roadmap.
Yeah, they've done a great job. So huge props.
All right. So in kind of the coolness to up the hype a little, Samsung was nice enough to release a nice photo. A nice photo. Pretty one directional. No like 360 shots of their alleged near final Android XR headset. There was no controller shown as of yet, we'll say. But to the people that were able to see the headset,
they call it Muhan, right?
Muhan.
It's not
Muhan.
It's not its actual name. That's like its project name. Project Muhan.
Muhan. That's what
it's called now. So if you ever hear it say Muhan, we're talking about the Samsung's Android XR headset.
Not a new cold.
This is one of the the various Android XR headsets coming out.
It looks pretty nice. If you Google the picture of it, it looks pretty sleek. It looks very light. I like the back of the head support it has, which is like, I'm thinking out of the box, it's going to be pretty comfortable.
Dude, Google seems pretty serious about
the
Android
question
XR.
is what lenses are they using?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be the $1 million question.
Yeah, at this point in time,
we're sad.
Anything that's not pancake lenses is it's a step back, in my opinion.
Could be.
I know someone that they recently tried a Quest 3 at Best Buy, and right away I was like, the person that demoed it, was it like a Meta person or a Best Buy? He's like, oh yeah, Best Buy rep.
100% wouldn't be a Meta person.
And I was like, okay, so how is their ability to demo it? And he was like, god awful, but I own an Index, so I already knew what to do.
And I got weird acne now on my face.
But he said he put it on and was just so blown away by the lens clarity and was like, how is it so clear? And I was like, pancake lenses, baby,
Magic.
So he was blown away, but it was the clarity of the lenses that blew him away. Like that is the modern lens. So if something like a $1,000 headset or whatever doesn't have pancake lenses, 1,000 plus, whatever that that's going to cost, it's just wrong.
Being as the backside was probably empty, we don't know. I'm not thinking there was anything on the other side of it. It's still like literally just, hey, this is what it's probably going to look like.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Project Muhan.
And I don't think full specs are out of it or anything yet. It does apparently have good AI integration, but I don't think that we can really know that until we're actually hands-on with it.
What really doesn't?
But this time next year, Android XR is going to be a legit player on the market. However, at the same lens, we referenced earlier, Meta is also having third-party headsets come out. Mm-hmm. They have partnerships lined out. This time next year, it's going to be Meta's first-party and third-party operating system headsets against Google's first-party and third-party operating system headsets.
I put my money on them. I'm biased, but I'd put it on Meta.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Android XR has the better name.
I think Meta's in it.
Meta could have the better name if they did Oculus OS.
Meta's in it for the long haul.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we've referenced,
Google just has too short of an attention span.
Their commitment has already surprised me. So maybe they'll continue to surprise me.
We got pictures. People saw it in person.
When it's in people's hands and their second generations and stuff like that. I'm just saying it's an exciting time. We have Google, Meta, Apple, everyone's in the VR hardware market at this point. Samsung. And granted, a lot of these players were previously in the market, but they left.
Well, now there's a market, dude. Mm-hmm.
And that's why that's why I give Meta so much props. They're the only one of those bunch to stick it out that whole in between time.
What's crazy is like decades from now, it won't be Meta that's leading the show.
You don't think so?
No. It's just like consoles.
Don't tell their investors that. Their whole point of
I think
is to be the leader in that field.
Listen, I think for at least a decade they're solid, but all it's going to take is like
Nintendo,
one of these companies to just be like, you know what?
Might be a company that doesn't exist yet.
That's a total possibility. Mm-hmm. I mean, the next Apple, the next Microsoft, the next Amazon, they're all there. We just don't know when they're coming and who's the people that's behind it. The next Elon Musk is there, but who and when? So that really creeps me out because you look at how much at the end of what'll be like the full run, one will be able to say Meta did for, all of our futures in some capacity, from business to entertainment to it's going to be pretty. I mean, it's somewhat historical if you really look at it.
Yes,
but there will be a day.
Not to simp on Meta, but their investment on the hardware side of VR in a merry
it's not
phase,
deniable.
It's definitely boosted the industry forward. There's people that speak about their ecosystem control and stuff, which, again, I still think the best that we've seen with VR profitability was a curated Oculus Quest store, but that's a different conversation. It's undeniable, like you said, the advances that Meta has done for the hardware side in VR, especially for standalone VR. So let's see, though. Like I said, this time next year, it's going to be an interesting conversation with Android XR and Horizon OS. Maybe it won't even be called Horizon OS by then.
Oculus OS.
So this next piece, though, this is one of my, honestly, on the whole list of news, maybe my most exciting piece of news for me. I was so happy when I read this. We're getting a Smurfs tower defense game that's going to be in VR and mixed reality, coming to Quest 3 this May. It's going to be called, amazingly, it's going to be called the Smurfs Flower Defense. And it's going to really lean in to the Smurf story. It's going to have, the main iconic characters, Gargamel, everyone. He's going to be the main villain.
Gargamel.
It's going to be freaking awesome. So
Smurfs were the shit when I was little.
He put a spell and captured over 20 Smurfs, and it's going to be your job alternating between Smurfette, Storm, Brainy, and Jokey to save these. And there's even going to be boss battles, a hard mode. This sounds fun, man.
No, I mean, they had me at tower defense.
And Smurfs?
Well, no, they had me at tower defense. Don't really give a shit what you do after the word tower defense, but Smurfs is a cool element.
Yeah.
And when Smurfs came out for the ColecoVision back in the day, it looked amazing compared to other games that were out there. So in my pea-brain, I have this expectation that it's graphically going to look really freaking good.
Okay, what's been shown off of it so far, which you never know, how much of this is like
No,
enhanced shots. It looked really freaking good. I know, granted, they could have played with the lighting and like added some effects.
Dude, yeah, they're not going to take jank shit.
But it looks nice.
Put that through.
Like I said, VR and mixed reality. So exciting times. This is just unexpected IP to come to VR. Like if you asked me last week, what games can be announced?
How about a city builder, but it's Smurfs?
Oh, that would be amazing.
Right?
In Smurf Village?
Because you have to build a fucking village.
Yeah.
It has to be functionable.
That would be great. So, dude, hopefully this is the beginning of the Smurf IP in VR.
Very easily could be. All right. So Smurfs is definitely we don't have a price tag on that.
No, just that it's coming in May.
Coming.
Quest 3 only, it sounds like.
Smurf Tower Defense. I'm loving it.
Flower Defense.
Sorry.
Too funny.
Flower Defense.
Shout out to developer Microids for scoring the IP and putting this together. This sounds like a fun game. Like you said, sold at Tower Defense, Smurfs on top.
Love to see it to scale. Imagine being like, because
you get to hold a Smurf in your hand.
Oh, dude.
You're going to hold a Smurf in your hand. You know that because you're going to control them. Like you get, this is going to be awesome. So I'm excited for this one.
Going to tell funny shit to like scare people away.
Since we don't got a price tag, you want to guess one? If there was no IP, I would guess 15. Since there's an IP, 20 to 25.
I was going to say $19.99.
Okay.
But it's possible that's going to come out at $14.99.
I'm going to guess.
Totally possible.
I think $14.99 would be the price without an IP. Because
Smurfs
of the IP
might not be as expensive as you think.
Correct. I just think it might add $5. So I'm
trolls, they'd probably pay you to do it.
I'll lock in my prediction for the $19.99. I'd say the low of $14.99, high of $24.99, probably going to be $19.99.
Okay.
That's my guess.
I'll say 14.
Ooh, $14.99 would make this
I'm only saying I really in my heart of hearts believe it's $19.99.
That would be a day one purchase if it's $14.99. That would be so fairly priced.
Wow, Red, you're just in full blown IATSE mode.
Reggie just moved over our camera.
He didn't knock it too bad. All right, so inside kind of some more, I guess, techie. We're still on the techie side, aren't we?
Well, I took some game stuff, man. You were still going deep on the tech side.
I was going deep.
Hungry for it.
Deep.
Give me that hardware and software.
So GeForce now launches for Quest 3, Pico, and Apple Vision Pro web browsers, which is huge.
Mm-hmm. We had talked the other week that it was coming.
Yeah.
But now
it's here. So and now you can legit play all your flat screen shit.
So that means you can go in the headset, open up the web browser, and just go to the GeForce Now website and start to play. I still have to play with GeForce Now. I haven't used it yet, but I like the concept that it's using your existing games.
Yeah.
I've heard the feedback, and I agree with this. Like, I like Xbox Game Pass, especially for being able to play it on the headset, but you don't own those games. Those could disappear from the library at any time.
Keep them installed, though. They don't disappear.
But a lot of people, well, for me, they're not installed on my Quest. You know what I mean? Like, if that goes away from the Game Pass, it's gone. And I understand a lot of people like to own their content, myself included. So I have like a love-hate relationship, too, where I do engage.
Can't you download it to PC, though?
To be honest with you, I've yet to really use Game Pass on PC. I'll have to go explore that.
Or just for the ownership value?
So I understand the criticisms with a lot of the streaming services, the cloud-based ones, that you don't own the content. But with GeForce Now, it's not like you pick
it's your content.
Yeah, it streams the content that you own. So it still gives you that incentive to go out and buy the games. It just allows you to access those titles from devices that realistically would not be able to run those titles. So it's a cool concept. I like it.
Well, out in the wild, baby.
Mm-hmm. So. And like I can do that with a virtual desktop, but that means I could do this like from a hotel, right? I mean, that's cool.
I don't see why not.
Whereas like virtual desktop, I do that system. Like I have to be on my same Wi-Fi, so I can still see a use for this. And they have a bunch of tiers. You can access it for free, but there's ads.
My favorite is the Q lines.
Yeah. But what are those Q lines?
Good Q line,
I'd be curious to know how extreme those Q lines actually are. So cool stuff, though. For some reason, I thought that one was me and waiting for you to take on the next one. But
do you? No.
In fact, this next one is indeed me, and it comes with a upcoming co-op puzzler with an interesting twist on it I'll get to in a moment, called Elsewhere Electric, and it's going to bring together VR and mobile players, where one player is in headset and exploring the world in VR, and then the other player interacts from their phone. So this is going to be a real interesting concept. The phone app, companion app, is going to be free. The game itself is not going to be free. But, so if you're a VR user, you tell your friend or whoever to significant other, whoever you want to play with, download the phone app and you guys get to have an experience together. It's cool. Interesting concept. The VR player physically explores the facility while the mobile player relays key information about the space. So that's
No, it's kind of cool.
Symbiotic relationship.
That works out great for me because Tracy doesn't like putting on a VR headset.
But she'll sit there on her phone and do puzzle shit, right? Help you figure it out. So definitely a must play for you two then, for
Although
sure.
She really, really, really wants in on
Songbird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yep.
But this one's made by Games by Stitch. So shout out to the developer there. And it's going to be coming spring or summer 2025. So this year.
Okay. Right around the corner.
Cool stuff.
Literally around the corner.
If you want to show it off, check out the Ruff Talk VR showcase.
So finally into some actually worthwhile gaming news after the tech run of the past hour and 20 minutes. Whatever.
Hey, we did just have gaming news. You mean gaming news from you?
Yeah. I'm talking me, baby. So trombone champ. What do I call it? Trombone?
Trombone champ is the Wish app.
I don't know what the hell. Trombone?
The Wish app version.
Hey, don't knock Wish app. Trombone champ unflattened. Is doing a nice update, adding a nice winter environment. Woohoo! Change the environment. Not what I'm watching when I'm playing. I promise you that. That environment could be a fucking black screen. I'd be happy. Just show me them notes, baby. Getting custom songs much, much, much easier on the Quest. No longer requiring the, uploading via PC connection. If I understand that correctly,
you can download the custom songs from a website straight from your headset.
And adding a bunch of new trombone coolness things.
Trombones?
Unicorn. Yeah, trombones.
Yeah.
Unicorns. There's the fucking...
There's a koi fish. There's a Chinese red envelope. And they redid the beans one. It makes fart noises now, too.
Yep.
And for people that aren't really the best at playing the game like me, there's a pitch assist in it now, too. That if you leave the note slightly, it stays on tune for it. So that's a huge update. So this next one's a cool one as well, too. Trying to get through these last ones a little faster, as we do have plans to do a YouTube live today. That would be cool, as always. But there's an upcoming game, Path of Fury, Episode 1, Tetsu's Tower, coming to MetaQuest this March. Made by developer Leonard Menciari. It's his first VR title, but he has made a couple flat screen games previously. But it comes out March 12th on MetaQuest for $9.99. It's going to be coming to Quest 2, Quest 3, and Quest Pro. And it's an arcade fighter game. So expect to throw fists. It, as Upload VR put it, it asks you to frantically swipe and punch at enemies as they ascend from a high rise flooded with aggressive enemy fighters. As you progress higher, the enemy types and numbers grow and change, and you'll need to manage your endurance and speed to reach the top. Sounds like a literal beat 'em up game.
Speaking of, is Underdog's knockoff name changed its name yet?
Hasn't changed yet, but Underdogs did put out an OG update for users of the game that previously had played the game. They have hit their 1 year anniversary, and you can now get an OG bling to attach to your mech inside the cockpit. Yeah, it's an OG one for users of the game that played it before.
I'm all over that, man.
I don't think you can get that yet.
Change your name, man, on Underdog.
I think you can get it now. I don't think you can get it if you downloaded the game for the first time ever and bought it. And that's for the OG players.
Yeah, the originals.
The OG Underdogs. They've done a great job staying up to keeping new content coming with that game too.
They're in the running for another award
at that rate.
Yeah, so
VR arcade fighter, Path of Fury, Episode 1, Tetsu's Tower, coming March 12th. So sounds interesting. A game like that I think is just perfect for co-op. Personally, I think of Path of the Warrior. Imagine that you can play it single player, but to me, playing it with you is that's where the game shines.
Path of the Warrior they had a good thing going.
Just saying, this one's called Path of Fury. I'm just saying, throw a little buddy in there. It can be a lot of fun.
Path of the Warrior. All right, so I will close out my portion with a little bit of just
LOLs.
Yeah, we almost didn't even put this one through. It was why not? It's just It is what it is. It's just weird. So Apple's newest store, the one they just built and opened, will have a dedicated
in Miami.
a dedicated Vision Pro viewing room, so you can check out the Vision Pro.
Which there were. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say there were reports that they were stopping production of that, and that was kind of reported that they were killing it off.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering how much if they're going to do this in all new stores, and if they do, how much are these little viewing rooms requiring for cost versus
how much is actually selling?
Yeah. It's just weird if you've like already announced that you're like, so I don't know. Hey man, I don't have the books of these companies, so maybe it's deliberate. They're like, fuck it, we lost so much money on that. But did you? Because you're just trimming it off the old taxation. I don't know. It just seems
they definitely
bizarre.
got money to blow. But I agree. The report when they said they were stopping production,
like, I'm not building this car anymore, but I've got a beautiful showroom for it.
It doesn't mean that they're killing support of the product. I think that what happened is that they made way more than their expectation of what they were going to sell.
Delusional.
There were reports of the numbers and that they were hoping to sell before the product ever came out. And when those came out, I remember us on air saying like, they're fucking out of their mind. They're smoking crack.
The paid for hype train when it came out was fucking awesome to watch.
So it was
like 2 weeks of just all this awesome shit. And then you started getting the return numbers of people like returning units and being like, yeah, it's not really.
Well, if it'd be different if the Meta Quest didn't exist for $500.
If those were meta numbers, people would be field daying the hate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool they did it, but you're going to spend what, 20, 30 grand on a special viewing room that probably
with a
involves
dedicated
an employee.
Yeah, 100%. That's trained on it.
How many people come into an Apple store going, you got the Vision Pro? How many? Like of all their stores, how many a day?
They try to like, hey, while we work on your phone,
we want that cocaine money. Put that shit in Miami.
You want to try a Vision Pro? The problem is it's just at such a price. It's like somebody's not going to walk out of the store with that, not expecting to have bought it before they went in. You know what I mean? If it's $500, you might be able to sell someone on it there.
Miami.
That's true. Coke money. That's actually the perfect city.
If Apple was really smart with their retail, they'd be in every casino mall.
Yeah, airports.
Right? Yeah, man. Well, I mean, you get the third-party stores that pretty much stock the bejesus out of Apple.
I've never seen an Apple store in a airport, actually.
No, not a full-blown.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is one. There's got to be.
Maybe it's just a test. There's like 6 other Apple stores.
Get the fuck out. Of course you
somebody just won 30 grand.
Dude, we were just at the casino. You know what the max bid at one of the play areas?
10K?
10,000.
Ooh, I actually hit the number.
Per fucking.
Do I win anything for guessing that right?
You win shit. You win shit.
But it does seem that they're not killing their support of the Vision Pro. I think they just made way more than they're ever going to sell. So yeah, stop production. Like once it becomes clear that you're never going to sell out of stock, you should stop making more. That doesn't mean that you're stopping the like support and the software and trying to sell them. But yeah, let's see if they're more realistic with future models of the Vision Pro.
Planned obsolescence too. Maybe it's also a thing of we need to get rid of these.
Mm-hmm. So
fast.
My old boss, he has the newest iPhone, and I was looking in the settings area, helping him with his phone, and there's a lot of references to the Vision Pro in there, and like way more than I would have thought. And I'm like, wow, they're trying to get you curious what a Vision Pro is just off of like seeing it in the settings name and stuff. So I'm like, it seems like they're pretty committed to it on the software side. They gotta make some changes for future models. $3,500 is not going to fly to be anything.
It's a little steep.
Yeah. But let's see. It's hard when, I mean, look how fast Meta's advancing with a $500 product. It's a tough fight they're up against. Like you said, they messed up because they made it as good as they could for the highest price. Now to get it cheaper, you have to go backwards, right? I think you said that a couple months ago.
They're not going to put better shit in there and make it cheaper.
No, now they can only. So they showed you the best that they can do.
Yeah, no, that sucks.
And Meta,
we haven't even seen the best Meta can do.
No,
I mean, even when they give you shit, What about performance upgrades that they'll drop and visual upgrade? Like, holy shit, because they always withhold the true power.
I know, right? They clock it up. I saw a developer today commenting how much the Quest 3's pass-through has improved since launch. And they were like, it's pretty much up to par with the Vision Pros.
Pro. Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, what's funny? I barely know, because it happens so real time. Like, it happens as we're using the headset update to update. It's like watching yourself grow. You don't always see how much you've grown. But yeah, the pass-through quality is so much less grainy than it was at launch. So Quest is catching up with pass-through quality, everything, They're getting home theater in their past environment.
Wait for the Quest 4, man. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Dude.
Did you get your demo model? I'm kidding.
At this point, you got to say I'm kidding. I felt so bad. I think it was I Expect You to Die.
It was.
4, you were joking like, oh, the release date's going to be,
It's coming around my birthday.
I think some people actually believed you.
They're actually going to have a playable version at Gamescom this year.
I want to see Until You Fall, too.
Totally untrue. I'm just good at starting shit.
They were at PAX East last year. I'd love to see them there again with something, but
if there's no VR support at PAX East, I'm not going.
Cancel our hotel reservation.
Yeah, a million times over.
It's gotten less and less every year.
PAX, that's the one, and Meta overlooks it as a whole.
Yeah, Meta has no support to it. PAX doesn't support VR really. With
if Meta has a booth there, then
I don't want to say they don't support VR, but
they do every day, but they're not physically there.
I'm sorry, I meant PAX because I had said that they don't support VR. They do have a VR share area last year, but it was such outdated games and tech.
Never seen headsets look like that since the fucking mall days.
Yeah, I would love to see Meta put a real
like an actual booth
promotional push into PAX
in New England. Come on, man.
Look,
I get it. It gets cold here.
This year it's going to be in May.
Yeah, it's a little warmer.
Just saying.
It's not competing with other events.
With GDC, which was always the previous problem, is that it ran the same time as GDC.
That's why I'm curious, man. It should, on paper, be a much bigger
showcase than last year.
VR
I hope
support,
so. Because GDC was always the justification for why it wasn't.
Correct. It was just too much.
Now why?
Yeah. You got no excuses.
People, come to PAX. I will say, too, there's bigger conventions. Obviously, Gamescom is much bigger. But
bigger expense, too.
We were like sniping out. we were hounding the booths with like watching people try VR experiences the last 2 years. And the overwhelming reception leaving those booths were positive. Like, the consumer masses are ready to demo VR. In my opinion, there just wasn't enough demos for them for VR.
Let's be honest. What if Trackcraft had a booth at PAX?
They would have gotten much more attention at PAX East than Gamescom.
Correct.
And stuck in that corner.
100,000,000%. And that was the first one my brain went to.
If you were in Home of XR booth, look, that's a different story.
What if freaking Miracle Pool had a booth, but could demo it with 2 people, not one?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Or if you were trying the booth by yourself, then somebody from the team's there to play with you.
Right. What if Miracle Pool did a booth? This is shit I'm just good at. But what if they did a booth and they were able to set the gameplay on top of a real pool table?
Yeah.
So you could have a real pool stick in your hand, but no balls on the table.
Controllers tied to it,
OMG.
Oh, maybe Studio 217 will be there again with Pin City. They were there the last 2 years.
That is an indie studio that
when that game finally comes out, it's going to be so fucking polished.
I just hope they market it well.
Yeah.
I can already see a direction going because it's 2 programmers, and that's scary.
I hope that they eventually get multiplayer in it. We got to
marketing.
If they're there this year, we got to ask them.
Speaking of marketing, where's the Grim swag? I want to see Grim shit. No shame to my game here. That patch really did. I was like,
no, you know what you want?
What?
Roto VR chair.
Roto VR?
Don't even get you started.
We'll almost given up on it.
We'll end on that.
I talk about it more than people who have it.
We'll end on that note.
I don't even have it.
All right. Fun stuff today, though. Loaded episode of news.
Thanks for that jab. That was a real nice salt. Appreciate that, bro.
Great stuff this week. Game updates, new games, freaking
Stay
whole bunch of hardware
East Coast
news.
Grim servers, will you?
We'll be coming out with some community stuff soon.
Dude, I wonder how many servers Spoon's gone in and just started whacking people, running around chasing people.
Again, if you're a developer studio, you want to participate in the Ruff Talk VR Gaming Showcase, check out the link in our show notes. If you're a listener to the show, you enjoy it,
Full disclosure, we don't charge for video clips, do we?
Oh, no, it's a free showcase for developers.
Thank you.
However, we do have sponsorship spots,
Yeah. Oh,
but
yeah,
that's very clearly a sponsorship spot.
There's nothing. Yeah.
You can watch
have
last
clicked
year's.
specifically on that.
We made it very clear who the sponsors were.
Yes.
But yeah, if you're a developer or a studio,
Your budget's already tight making your product.
I just asked, supply me a new trailer, like one not previously shown, and let's show off your game. You know, the point of this has always been for us to show off as many games as we can and try to boost the industry in our own way that we can. It's not to make $1 million off the industry.
Pretty fucking evident.
People want to sponsor. That's a different conversation.
That's real evident.
And I think that was an important mentality to have last year, and I'm glad we established that because I believe that this year that's even more important with,
There's been some struggles for
some struggles in the industry. It's not the time to be going around and saying,
dude, nothing would hurt me worse than a studio that could but just didn't have resources, so
Correct.
they can't, and that's not fair.
Dude, it takes resources to make a trailer. Like that alone
And if
is
there's
not a
no
free
sponsorship
endeavor.
and you still want to help the cause, then you certainly can too.
Yeah,
There's nothing stopping a studio from doing that.
but free to participate.
That's important.
Yeah, that's an important caveat. If you're
I like that.
studio or I think it's important, man.
Dude, it makes me feel good.
Maybe
It doesn't have to be that way.
as
Certainly
things get
nothing's-
bigger, of course, we can always raise our optional sponsorship costs, but I
let's
don't
just-
think that the incentive needs to be to go after developers and say, if you want to promote your game at all, you have to give us money just off the flat.
No.
Some of my favorite trailers last year were really indie solo devs that they wouldn't have had a budget to.
No.
And again, there's already.
I don't know. And marketing's like mucho important.
Yeah. So I'm glad that that's a philosophy we established last year because, like I said, I think this year it's so important that we had that philosophy for this. It's just about promoting the industry and I guess growing things in
Putting
whatever
on
way
a
we
good
can.
show, man. That's what it's about.
Let's go.
You know what's crazy?
What's that?
Because I'm assuming we'll have clips of us talking at some point during it. But if we wanted to use a real auditorium, I have access to a real
A museum auditorium.
old auditorium.
I think our format, I don't think much needs to change in our format. I like how we did our on-screen.
Oh, the flow was perfect.
So we'll keep it a similar flow,
Us
but
time was limited.
I do think it did create a little mix-up in the flow of things too, that it wasn't just like an hour straight of nonstop trailers too.
Yeah.
But it never was about us. I think we were on the screen for no more than a minute at a time.
No,
Only like four times throughout the
Honestly,
thing.
it's like anytime we speak during a showcase, it's to
Mostly thank the
give gratitude
sponsors,
to the sponsors
and the watchers,
because
the
that's
viewers.
would, let's be honest, it's like sponsorship isn't free.
Mhm.
So
They deserve all the shout outs they
correct.
can get.
But it's not going to be mundane banter.
We are doing too
That's what we have the news for.
a nice studio remodeling going on as well too. So exciting stuff happening in the Ruff Talk VR side of things. But it is all only possible due to listeners and viewers, like everybody watching at home or in their car or on the go, wherever you may be. And honestly, the VR developers and publishers that give us things to talk about. It's the people moving the industry forward, whether on the software or the hardware side, that gives us things to talk about. If the industry was stagnant, there is no news. There is no reviews.
We're on
There's no
vacation.
interviewers. Yeah.
We go on vacation. We have our first ever season.
But it's all these studios always putting out games, hardware, software updates that like you can't miss a week.
Dude, I love when people post and be like, so how long is a podcast season? And I always want to be like, I don't know. So far, we're in it for 1,200 days. We're in season 1,
Yeah.
episode like 400.
It's just been one long season.
I think we're crazy.
A little bit. But you got to be crazy to have fun.
Because you reach a point then when it's past the point of like, well, let's just take a week off.
Mhm.
It's like, well, now you can't
Can't.
because you've ended a run.
Oh, we do have some great interviews coming up in the works as well too. So
Yeah, no spoiler on that.
exciting times.
Maybe for some Discord members, we'll
Drop
right
some.
now we're locked in, so all is good.
Well, we
But
do have
Bigfoot is Bigfoot, correct?
we do have an exclusive channel in
We
our
won't say
Discord
who.
server. Anyone can join our Discord server.
Yeah.
It's free to join, free to participate, free to take place. But we do have an exclusive channel just for Patreon subscribers as well.
Mhm.
Maybe we can drop some tidbits in there, like I've done before, of
I think Patreon, you can just full blown say who it is for sure. I don't see any harm in that. The general chat, no, we won't.
Secrets.
It's a good one though.
Secrets.
It's a return guest.
So good times. It's not Palmer
And
Luckey, unfortunately.
Man,
I want to get Palmer Luckey on so bad. Maybe one day.
Didn't you reach out, try once?
I don't think in the most proper of manners. No.
Think way back. Who was the doctor we reached out to too?
Oh, Huberman.
Yeah. Dude, that was like at the earliest.
The fact that Matt Sarah came on, we could give so much better of an interview to Matt Sarah these days.
And honestly,
he is such a cool guy. The fact that he did that, it would actually be cool to reach out to him and be like,
ask
dude,
for
look.
a return. Be like, no, dude, he threw us a big bone when he did.
We were not educated enough about podcasting.
No, dude,
interviewing skills, or even VR.
But
honestly,
it was not the worst interview.
No,
at all.
No.
So it'd be cool to actually have him back because I know he still plays VR and shit. So it just to see that difference of compare the setup back then too. Come on, man.
We were just unprepared.
But no, the Matt Sarah thing. Because didn't that start one day when I was like, hey, why don't we get Matt Sarah?
Then I think like a week late, I think I reached out.
Yeah, you sent you're like, I mean, it was the most ludicrous thing.
And then like I got a response like a week later. I was like,
but you don't know if you don't try. And that's the lesson I learned with just because somebody's like fucking famous or whatever, doesn't mean they might not have the time or be willing to based on what the format is.
Well, I think it was the father-son element that got to him.
Cats in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon.
Weaponizing familyhood, you know?
That's what we played that in the message that we sent him, right? We had the original version.
The Cats in the Cradle playing in the background. No,
there's no guarantees on tomorrow.
Jokes aside, huge props to Matt Sarah.
Yeah, man.
For doing that. That was fun.
Dude, fucking.
Former UFC welterweight champion.
Lucas.
UFC Hall of Famer.
Lucas Martel. Madrid Noir. I cannot remember the director's
James
name.
Castillo.
James Castillo. Yeah.
Come on, man. Great times.
That guy's running. He's always doing cool shit. Yeah, so any one of those the early folks or Elvin table tennis for not like
Ryan Angle talked to us like a month into doing the thing, a month and a half.
Ryan Angle's been on twice.
Yep, and I was so unprepared again, skill wise, to be interviewing people like that at that time.
But no, it's like, well, they didn't know that.
Yeah, well,
they had no clue.
Maybe they knew by the end, or maybe not.
No,
but we've improved. The show's improved.
I think like it didn't take long.
No,
really, it didn't.
And guess what? We ain't going nowhere. So that's the way it goes.
I wish we could play some DMX to close that out.
So if you've been enjoying the show, like I said, subscribe, rate us 5 stars.
Love you, buddy.
Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on your favorite audio platform, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Podcast Addict, wherever the kids listen to podcasts these days. You know, those platforms are always changing. They killed Google Podcasts. Rest in peace on that. On that front. Stay tuned for the next episode of Tabor Radio as well, too. What else is there? Love you, peeps. Thank you all for listening. Stay tuned for next week. We got some great interviews in the works. And check you out next week. Ciao, ciao.